Around 1 p.m., I had some of the last of the shrimp, which Mom cooked at that time. We've now used up the whole bag that we got from Wegmans a couple days ago. And I had that shrimp with a few mild cheddar cheese sticks. Though I recall being up much earlier than that time. I recall getting up for today around 10 in the morning. After falling back asleep somewhere between 5 and 6 in the morning. After having some of the leftover candy and that Mom got for Christmas. During the early morning hours. And again around the time I had the shrimp and cheese sticks. Later, roughly from 2 to 3 p.m., I played on the Wii for the first time in years. With a game I remember particularly well called the Clone Wars lightsaber duels. You have the remote in this hand and the nunchuck in this hand. And essentially the remote becomes your lightsaber. While the nunchuck is used more to control your character during the lightsaber duels. I particularly remember this game because I remember playing it one time, years ago. I remember getting farther on presumably the campaign, higher difficulty than I chose today. Either higher or the same. The campaigns seem to be different from when I played it all those years ago. Different cutscenes, different characters being used in the battle scenes. In the case of today, I chose the Padawan difficulty, the lowest difficulty, because it had been years since I played the game. And I went through the whole tutorial, least to most advanced. Trying to repeat each demonstration until I felt that I had learned it. And then going through campaign on the Padawan difficulty. In order to learn the ropes. The motion controls worked pretty well. Though I suspect there's some kind of an interference. I don't remember that being part of the game, but my character, when I'm not controlling them with the nunchucks joystick, seems to constantly move towards my opponent. As I tried to learn on my own during the campaign battles, trying to apply what I saw during the tutorials, I was able to relatively breeze through the assassin, I'm not sure of the name. The character I'm referring to seems to be Asa Ventress, though I had to look that one up. But I don't need to look up the name of the second character I fought during the campaign, in which I was first Anakin Skywalker, then Obi-Wan Kenobi, during the two Asa Ventress fights. Those two fights consisting of 2 rounds. And then for the third fight, I fought Count Dooku, which represented a difficulty spike in the game, at least for me. Unlike Asa Ventress, who seemed to never block, Count Dooku seemed to always be in the block position, which I can do by holding down the B button on the remote. In order to fight effectively, it seems that you have to only attack when he does, since if he's attacking, he can't really block. Which is what I tried to do later on into the first round and for the entirety of the second round, generally speaking. Both of which I ended up losing. And by that point, I had pretty much been playing for roughly an hour or so, according to my recollection. This wrist was a little sore, but it's better now. The wrist soreness is why I decided to stop for today. I didn't quite break into the sweat that all those years ago led Mom to comment that I looked like I had been through a war. But I had broken into a light sweat. And experienced firsthand that I can still play old games on our Nintendo Wii all these years later. if I recall, around 7 p.m., we went to the Dakota for one of their karaoke nights. After I spent some time both before and after playing on the Wii, working on the plaid pattern, for Beaker's pants, I'm pretty close to finishing Beaker at this point, though it's going to take some work. Around 8 p.m., I got my usual salad, the one that has orange slices and sliced almonds in it. For my dressing, I got presumably the house ranch, and I got a protein with that salad. In this case, choosing to add steak to it, which was cooked well. And was perfectly tender. Though I didn't put on all of the ranch that I could have, because I didn't want to drown the salad. And essentially have the ranch overwhelm the other tastes of the salad. With the salad, I got the cadet cocktail, which is essentially getting a mule with the salad. And after I finish both the salad and the mule, I moved to a different booth on the other side of the back part of the restaurant, as the equipment for the karaoke night was being set up. I sang a total of 4 songs during the karaoke night. I sang What's Up by 4 Non-Blondes, and then Lean on Me by Bill Withers. Then The Only Exception by Paramore. And then lastly, I sang That's Amore by Dean Martin. And when you're up singing karaoke, you have a screen that gives you the lyrics to sing. So I'm used to not having to memorize the songs, and this was generally the case for me, except in the case of That's Amore by Dean Martin. Where the second time the song's verses were sung, they were hidden in favor of little side things you say after each verse the second time around. Such as Lucky Fella. Thankfully, though, I managed to sing them pretty well without the lyrics being up, due to a combination of remembering them, because at that point I had just sung those verses, and hearing Dean Martin effectively tell me what to sing still. After the lyrics weren't shown on the screen in front of me and in front of me. For the second time each verse appeared in the song. While at the Dakota, I started work on a new polystyrene drawing project. This new project being me deciding to draw Akina from Animal Crossing a second time, basing it off of a reference image that I made from taking a screenshot of the Akina zone animation, and then sending it to myself on Gmail so I could download it onto my phone. Though I didn't start working on that project until pretty late. Since I had thoughts of drawing a dark-skinned man with a high school Letterman jacket, jeans, and some boots. Though doing that would probably involve too much detail for what I'm comfortable with doing, essentially out in public. And not only that, but the toughest part of any polystyrene drawing project, at least mentally, is just starting the project. At times, you'll think about how best to approach it. And when I was starting it, I was pretty much constantly looking at the reference image I had created. Relatively early on at the Dakota, pretty much after I moved to that booth on the other side of the back of the restaurant in preparation for the start of the karaoke night, I took all of the Sharpie markers that were in a sort of sandwich bag-like bag and organized all of them, giving them a slot in my marker satchel, and then took out whichever markers I felt would be the right tip and colors that I would use for a second Akina polystyrene drawing. And those markers, the ones I decided I would use for that kind of drawing, are now in that sandwich bag. Generally speaking, the morning and afternoon hours were pretty much spent flipping between this game and Dragon Lord. And I think a little bit of incremental Epic Hero 2. I had a cup of coffee around noon, essentially right before I had the shrimp and cheese.